Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and we've been doing these NESARA shorts, and we're going to do the fifth of the series. We've been talking about we've been talking about debt, fairness. Then we moved into gold-backed currency and pricing. I'm going to do a weird one that you haven't been thinking about with NESARA, and it's in the original information that Bill Clinton was forced to sign, but it's very hard to understand because I was trying to figure out how they would actually do it. And the quantum financial system actually helps you do this. It's privacy. And you're going to go, so what? Why do I need to worry about privacy? When you have a very public area, see, the communism idea, the idea of democratic socialism, all these other things, is about predicting what a body of group can do or they are doing at that time. They're looking at prediction rates, and they want to be able to control the masses. That's why they call you sheeple. But the privacy point will happen that you're going to have to be much more frank with your audience, whether a government to its citizens, whether it's a body of a group to its body, like a church or a agency kind of thing, or whether it's a business to its customers. And so those things will have to change. But privacy has never been that way. And I remember back in the early 90s when the HIPAA policies came out, and I looked at them, and my wife was a nurse, worked with my boss at the time, Bruce, and I remember watching them do this, and they bantered back and forth for like 2.5 weeks. I mean, she was working full time at the time, and it was before our son was born, but we were sitting there just trying to banter this thing about how do we get the HIPAA policies to work for a private practice? And the response that I had was like, why do we need to do this? Like, we're going to keep it private. Like, we already do. We never sell our data. No private practice, no small business sells their data upstream to anyone. They want to keep it to themselves. That's the value of a business. And why were they doing this? Well, because Obama was trying to push a whole different set of points. That was in that 1,000-page thing. No one ever had a 1,000-page document inside of the health insurance. So it's the Obamacare was just the sick point of this. So what happens in there is that they put these privacy, well, that was not just Obama, that was Clinton, but again, it was Hillary. Hillary's always trying to push her little issues. And the privacy policies, if they really worked, you should never have had spam emails. You should never have had spam in your mailbox, the physical spam. You should never have had spam calls. And by the way, if you track from the early 90s when the HIPAA things came out, and they were supposed to have, every single business had to file within this, and there were massive fines against you. And people spend their whole life in the HR departments dealing with the HIPAA stuff. And I'm like, but how come I have more spam in my email, more spam calls? Who's getting my data? So if my data is out there, who's getting it? It's getting out in these other ways, and this is how they did it. I mean, it is the most fakey thing in the history of the world. And so it doesn't do anything about privacy. It's actually anti-privacy. Those are the kind of things that we're going to kill off in the quantum financial system. See, what the quantum financial system does is a blockchain-based system where when you move from the outside of the system and you come inside of your quantum financial number, what will happen is it's not a mark of the beast. Stop at the stupidness. You're going to have to sign up for it or any other thing. Everyone's going to be transported in here. And it's going to have privacy that you have control. The governments won't have control of it. You have control of it. You'll be able to move money. I mean, we had to move some money for my son to buy a car. And, we had to go to the bank and have them do the little $16 fee to move money. And the answer is you can move money. You just have to know the account of where you're going to where you've been. And the reality is, every time you have to have this routing number stupidness, it makes no sense. Routing numbers don't have to happen. You go, well, yeah, but you need a routing number to know where you're coming from. It never happens in the history of the world. First off, when I had my healing event, if you want to listen to it, you can go on my channel with this. There was a problem with the insurance, and I had to communicate with a hospital, which I've done several times. You know, hospitals kind of screw up and they get the wrong thing. And insurances don't understand which hospital when and all this other stuff. And what you do is you basically say, Scott is going to X hospital at this address, and here's my account number. So the address with the account number is the qualifier. And then the insurance can find that place. So they have the communication back and forth. They can pay the bill, right? Happens all the time. But why is it that only banks have this routing number? What are they really doing? The reality is they're tracking you. This is tracking with the Fed. Every single transaction's always found in that way. So why is it that every single transaction's found? It's because that's the part that we need to unhook. So you're going to see privacy in that way, that you have control over that issue. You won't have a governmental control. And that's why it's anti-Mark of the Beast silliness, okay? Trust me, Mark of the Beast will happen in the tribulation, but it doesn't have, excuse me, it doesn't happen now at all with that. Okay, so when we talk about privacy, what else does that mean? It means that you cannot be stolen from in the same way. You guys have no idea. Like as a business owner in the last 18 years, man, I get my credit card stolen, you know, through companies maybe once every couple years. I mean, so it's not an uncommon thing as a business owner, because you have different ways that you got to do, and it's something you just got to watch, okay? And ever since I started talking about NESARA and all this other stuff about 2.5, almost 3 years ago, my identity in different ways has been stolen 6 times in 2 years. It's just the attack. This is how they love attacking me, and I have to watch it. And I always catch them. I catch them within the day that they do this. My bank had a huge thing with that, and the reality is, how do they do this? Is because data is taken from these big corporations and they give it to someone else and they make money off of it. These virus, scanners on computers, how are they getting the viruses? Because the company is making the virus and they're making the antivirus in the same time frame. It's just all a scam. And so once you find that we go into the quantum financial system, the privacy thing goes away. And you will say your spam emails go to nothing. You should be able to, choose, I'm signing up for that particular event and I want to have information from that shoe company when the new shoes come out, whatever. Okay. You shouldn't have tracking footprint issues and all those other things. It's going to take time for that to kind of come through, because the systems, but there's going to be spam, but it's going to start dying more and more as we kind of kill that through the system with that. So privacy is going to be huge, and it's going to change a lot of stuff, and it's going to make the big companies, the big tech, it's going to knock them for a loop. And that is going to change it, because the reality should be the control of the consumer who's working with the company. Okay. And I know I talk about consumer to company, but that's really the privacy we got to do. And then scammers won't be able to do this. I mean, in that same time frame I told you about that I've had, 6 different times, my tax returns have been stolen. So, I went in, I had to pay taxes this one year, and I found out that they had stolen my social security number, my wife's social security number. Now we have to have identifiers for the IRS with this. Now the IRS is going to die too, so that's going to be kind of fun. But it's just a constant stealing. And here's the thing, the IRS doesn't even crack down on it. They don't care about cracking down on it. I mean, there was the one that had stolen from me. It was this place in Georgia that had literally hundreds of people that he had stolen from. And it's just one guy stealing, and he's getting all in one mailbox. I mean, that should be simple to fix, and they don't want to fix it because they would have to actually talk about the hacking that their own system had on purpose. And you go, who is doing it? The system. This is the sickness of the system. This is the elites stealing from the people. And they just keep stealing from it. But when that's why the QFS is so terrifying of the people. They don't want you to know this kind of information. They don't want you to understand that privacy can be yours. And when it is yours, you become the voice they've got to listen to. You know, your government needs to be terrified of you, not because you're a terrorist, but because you put them in power and you can take them out of power. And when they usurp their power, they're breaking the law, and they put themselves under oath of the military, and they're under military tribunal, which means puts them at the highest risk to treason kind of areas. So if you want to get in government, you're going to have to say, wait a second, maybe I'm going to be really careful. Maybe I really don't want to be in government. Well, yeah. But you know, that's going to change that. But see, when we have average people in government in Afghanistan, that's exactly what you want to see. When you have average people in South Africa and South America's countries, instead of these elites, they're going to be terrified, and they're going to be gone. By the way, they're going to be gone. That's what the EBS is all about here, guys. And that privacy is going to give you the power. And that's when a government starts working for the people and by the people. Constitutional stuff. See, they quote to you constitutional stuff, but it's their constitution. We're deleting them at their own game. We are making them play checkers with our chess champions here. So that's what's going on in the background here, guys. So sorry if the screen went blank there for half a second. But I hope this helps you give an understanding of what's going on. But like and subscribe and check it out. Thanks so much.